Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky met with a Russian delegation for peace talks. He has demanded an immediate ceasefire by Russia. Nevertheless, many Ukrainians are fleeing the fighting. Not all, however. Some people are choosing to stay and to fight. That is the case for our next guest. Ukrainian member of parliament Lesia Vasylenko joins us now from outside Kyiv. What is the situation now? We hear that Kyiv is threatened, has been for days. What is the state of security, and what is the situation with regard to civilian defense? What are you telling people to do?
The situation in Kyiv is very tough right at this moment, considering that Kyiv is under missile attack as we speak, and Kyiv is under, basically everybody has gone under into cellars and metro stations because of the bombing which is happening at this moment. There has just been a massive explosion, but at the same time, similar air raid signals have gone round in Vinnytsia, in Kharkiv, in Zhytomyr, because Russia is known to have used to have been ordered to use all of their military might to hit Ukraine, and it has been the same situation for 3 nights in a row now. And Ukrainians have to spend the night underground. Our children have to spend the night underground. I'm actually preparing now for bedtime, and my children are sleeping under the stairs.
Lesia, I was going to ask you about that because obviously you have chosen to stay in Ukraine, and of course we hope that you and your family stay safe.
She's doing bedtime with the kids under the stairs.
I mean, as a mother myself, it's unbelievable hearing, the bravery and what you're going through. So tell us why you've chosen to stay there in Ukraine, and what are the steps you're taking to keep safe?
In August 2019, I was elected by my people to parliament, and I swore an oath to stay with my people and to stay with my country no matter what. Right now, for me to leave would be treason. And even if it wasn't written in the law, I would stay anyway, because I am Ukrainian, and my biggest value in life is freedom. For freedom, I am prepared to fight, and for freedom, I am prepared to stay. And I want my children to wake up tomorrow and every day in a free, independent country that believes in values and that fights for these values, not in some kind of empire where Ukrainians are treated like slaves.
Lesia, I'm curious how old your kids are and how they are handling things.
I have 3 children. My oldest is a boy, he is 8. Then I have a girl who's 6 and another girl who is turning 9 months tomorrow.
How are they doing?
Well, the baby is doing fine because she's a baby. For her, the main thing is to have her parents around. And my older kids, well, they have stress because every time they hear a siren, they don't know what's going on. They hear the conversation around the house about Putin threatening the world with nuclear, and they don't know what it is, but it sounds scary because children, they are children. They can feel things more than hear things, and they understand the general feeling of anxiety. And what pains me most is that this morning I woke up realizing that it's Monday morning, and my usual routine would have been to take them to school. And they were not in school. They were just making their way out from under the stairs and helping their grandparents from the cellar that we have in the house. And the education they are getting now is about where to hide from which kind of attacks, where to hide from an airstrike, where to hide from a missile strike, where to hide from an artillery attack.
Lesia,
and they're testing the walls of the house.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. I'm sure you've heard the stories of Ukrainians who may be abroad coming back to help and fight alongside Ukrainian forces. If you had a message for the rest of the world, for Europe and the rest of the world, about what you need there, what Ukraine needs, what would that be?
Ukraine needs for the world to start standing with Ukraine, not just on Twitter and hashtags, but we need the world to really be here with us, fighting the biggest aggressor in the world, on the ground, in the air, and on the seas. We have the opportunity now to join, for foreign nationals to join the Ukrainian Territorial Defense Units. It's an international territorial defense unit which is being formed. So if you, like many Ukrainians, feel strongly about freedom, about democracy, about sovereign states, and about the existence of Ukraine, then come and fight with Ukrainians. There's a possibility to register with the embassies in your respective countries. This is number one. Number two, I would like to say that governments across the world need to step up. We need a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Kharkiv, a city in the east of Ukraine, second most densely populated, is getting hit badly. Civilians are targeted. They target residential areas. The strategy of Putin now is to target women and children. They are stopping at nothing. Chernihiv, a city in the north of Ukraine, civilian objects, housing, hospitals, kindergartens, schools were hit. We have by now 16 children dead. We need the no-fly zone over Ukraine. Please talk to your governments, talk to your parliamentarians, and convince them that it's the only way to keep Ukraine safe, and it's the only way to keep the world safe. Because in Ukraine, we also have such a thing as Chernobyl. In Ukraine, we have other nuclear power plants. And if Russian missiles hit those, then we are looking at a nuclear catastrophe that will impact the whole of the world. We need the no-fly zone in right now. And it's up to you to talk to your governments and your parliaments and to keep yourselves safe and Ukraine existent in the world.
Lesia Vasylenko, member of the Ukrainian parliament. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
I would say member of the Ukrainian parliament and one of the many brave parents right now in Ukraine.
Absolutely. Please stay safe and may your family stay safe as well. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.